Hello, welcome to Learn, Do, Become Radio. I'm April Perry. Today, I am sharing a fun interview that Eric and I did with my sister Laura that will help you to strengthen yourself financially. And I know this is a different type of topic for us here at Learn, Do, Become. We talk about helping people stop drowning in piles and creating systems to get out of the overwhelm. And a lot of what we teach is helping people build a command central in our Steps to Everyday Productivity program to organize all the stuff. And that's a great place to start. I love helping people stop drowning in piles and get organized. However, we also have our Arise membership, where Eric and I meet once a month with our Arise community, and we talk about how to architect a life of excellence once you do have your system in place. And Arise covers 6 categories: organization, relationships, health, higher power, purpose, and finances. And we rotate through these topics, and back in August, Eric led a class about preparing for an extraordinary retirement. Now, that topic has always seemed kind of boring to me, to be honest. But as I've gotten older, I've learned, oh my gosh, no, this is not boring at all. This is going to prepare our lives so that we can have more choices and opportunities and options and less stress as we progress. Now, Laura listened to this class replay, and then she seriously jumped right in and she started applying what we covered. And it was so awesome to hear her success that I asked her to join us on a podcast to share her story. So we'll go ahead and jump in, and then I'll share more at the end on how you can move forward with us as well if you're feeling excited and you want to work more closely with me and Eric and our risers. But this interview is going to be fun, regardless of if you're in a rise or not. We're just so grateful that you're here. Okay, enjoy. Welcome to Learn, Do, Become Radio, Laura.
Well, thank you. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, we're super excited to have you. And I think I'm almost as excited as anybody listening to hear this podcast because, a few weeks ago, April and Laura had this great telephone conversation about some things that Laura had been doing or learning in Arise, putting into practice. And April comes in the house after walking the dog this afternoon. She's like, it's incredible. Laura just did this. And she was talking about this and how this changed. And so I was just like, okay, we're going to have her on a podcast. And so I cannot wait to hear, Laura, some of the things that you learned, that you were excited about, things that you've seen made a difference in your life.
Well, thank you. I am excited, and I want to thank you for, Learn, Do, Become, and Arise for the things that I've learned. So many things. I love your financial planning month that you had us focus on, because that's something I've always wanted to get more organized in my life, but I kept putting it off because I just thought it would take too long, it'd be too complicated. But one of the things that you recommended was the book, Start Late, Finish Rich, and by David Bach. And I started reading that, and it got me really excited. And then, I had this, first of all, I should probably say, I was sort of drowning in piles, like you had helped me so much. It's hard to focus on things when you're full of piles. So I'm so thankful for the program that helped me kind of get my piles organized, my life organized, so that I could tackle some financial challenges that I was having. So I'm really grateful for that. And during COVID, I needed to sign up to have a Zoom account, and my own private Zoom account, and it cost $15.99 a month. So after COVID ended, I tried to cancel my Zoom account, and there was no easy way to cancel it. And I got really frustrated every time I went to cancel the Zoom account. I couldn't figure it out. And so I just put it on hold for a long time. And then I was actually having a conversation with your daughter, Grace, about this. And she's like, oh, that's easy. Here, come over here. Let me just get my laptop. Let me help you. What's your account? What's your password? What's this? And within a matter of minutes, she had my Zoom account canceled. So I was like, oh my gosh. So $15.99 a month I had been paying for over a year, which I didn't even need, was like wiped away. So I'm like, wow, okay. So I got a little momentum. I got a little excitement. And then I started listening to Start Late, Finish Rich by David Bach on my drives to work. And the one thing he was saying was, this latte factor where people spend $5 to $10 a day on lattes. And if everybody could just save $10 a day, everybody can save $10 a day. And it was really interesting that he said that specific dollar amount, $10 a day, because I work for the city of Long Beach, and there's a McDonald's right across the street. So when I drive to work, I'm usually in a hurry and I haven't eaten before. So to sustain me, as long, I would just drive through McDonald's and get an oatmeal, hash brown, and a drink, and it's $10.
Okay.
And so I was like, wow, that's because he's like, hey, can you save $10 a day? And I was thinking, yeah, I could save $10 a day. I don't need to go through, in April, you had just told me that you were, making oatmeal every night. I'm like, I could make oatmeal every night. So
awesome.
I started with that, and I don't really need a drink or the other. So I did that, and I've been saving $10 a day.
That is awesome, Laura. I was going to say, just for the risers out there listening on this podcast, we will make an official I ate oatmeal for breakfast this morning badge. And you can pin that into your account. So there you go.
We have all kinds of badges.
Keep going.
Yeah, because, I really, it's true, because you might think that's just a small thing. But, when you think about this, a quote I heard, little leaks sink a ship, and just little leaks of little spending here and there, it can really, add up.
Yeah. And to clarify, I don't think David means you have to give up everything every day. You might still have a latte once or twice a month, but there's a lot of ways. It might be something other that you save, and it maybe saves you $70 each month. Looking at your subscriptions and stuff, that just opens up these little amount. What $10 a day adds up to is about $300 a month. But if we're careful and kind of evaluating our spending, we can find this kind of money. And then, he talks about what to do with that, and you might share some of that, but it isn't hard to just do a simple review and audit and a basic adjustment, not depriving ourselves of everything we love, but just a few adjustments, right?
Right, exactly. And just being aware that you're spending $10 a day that you might not need to spend. Because he was, when he's talking about finishing rich, he makes the point of, this really isn't about money. It's about the life you want to live.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And that's exactly what you all have been preaching for so long. So like that, as I'm getting older, this really spoke to me, because I'm starting late, and I have made all the mistakes in the world. I've had many failures in my, experiences trying to tackle this, but I'm just like, hey, I kind of take the little microburst approach to this, because just taking like one thing at a time, it's not a big deal, but it's an improvement. I'm no longer paying $15.99 for the Zoom account I don't need. I'm no longer paying $10 at McDonald's. I just make my own oatmeal. It's fine. And I'm like, okay, like what else could I get for, in savings? So, what he says is like, just look at your bills and see if you can, knock off expenses. Just be aware of your expenses. So the next bill that I was paying, I realized one of my most expensive bills was our TV, internet, and phone. That was a bundle package.
Mm-hmm.
And we got it a long time ago, and it was $350. And that was like a long time ago when things were a little more expensive. And when there's been more competition, things have gone down, but I've continued to pay this amount, and I knew it was too much. So I finally got around to calling and what David Bach said to do in the book is like, call your competitor first and see what they can offer, and then go back and tell them. So that's exactly what I did.
Yeah.
And the competitor said, we'll do it for 100. So
wow.
I'm like, I know. So I went back, and by this time I was a little bit in a hurry, but they said, okay, we'll take off 150 right now. Just, if you don't do it.
Just don't leave. Don't go away.
Yeah, just don't go away. Exactly, because they want your business.
Right.
So just to keep it simple and not have to shut that whole thing down, get a whole new internet, and get, my husband watches a lot of sports on TVs, and he's got his particular channels and all this stuff. So I'm like, okay, like 150 right now, like off the bat, boom, it was just done.
So
and I'm like, wow,
it's comfortable, and you saved half the price, right?
Yeah.
And you tell that provider, but I'll be back.
I know, exactly. That's what happened too, because I was like, okay, that was so easy. I can't believe it. And okay, so then I actually,
if I could pause right there, Laura, I'll just share a quick story. Some of our listeners and some of our steppers and risers and becomers know my mom, Peg. We've kind of talked about her in the past. And I was actually the same thing. Her biggest line item in like her other expenses was this national provider of, internet and cable type services. And where she lives, it's a little bit more rural. She's like, I don't have any other options. And we actually talked about being able to get the mobile provider she had has like this like CERT router that she could plug in, and it would give her router service to be able to watch most of the stuff she cares about, all the channels through like the internet. And she's like, that's not going to work. That's not going to work. And she was all stressed
Like
out.
the Hallmark Channel.
Like the Hallmark Channel. And, you know,
Yeah.
I won't get to, but yeah, all the ones that my mom would love to watch. And so we actually showed her, here's all the channels you'll have. And she's like, I don't know. It's about $170. And I said, just call them up and tell them you're canceling. And literally they started throwing deal after deal after, right? And I just lovingly say, thanks for that offer, but I'm moving in a different direction. And so she actually shut it down from 170, and like the little router service on her mobile account is $30 a month. And we got her a little screen TV, like a TV where she usually watches it, plugged it right in. And I was just visiting her about a week ago, and she's like, Eric, I love it. This is so much better. I can watch anything I want on demand. Like and I just click the button and it plays. Like she's getting the streaming idea, and it's like a fourth of the price.
She's so
like,
cute.
Eric, this is so much better. And I'm like, I'm glad, Mom. I'm so glad. So again, it's just like exploring other possibilities. I love how with your husband, you're like, I want to keep what's familiar to him, right? Where all his channels are and all that. So you keep the comfort, but you save half the money. So that's awesome. So sorry, keep going.
Yeah. No, but I thank you for bringing that up, because that streaming is a new concept for me. You know, kind of being in the older generation, streaming is new. And so I did call back because I didn't get the streaming, because the guy, so when I had a little more time, I did call back and said, is there any way I can get it down even more? And he said, yes, you know, through streaming, you can take it down. But what happened was I didn't have a smart TV. We had a dumb TV. So we had like 4 dumb TVs. So he said, you need to get a smart TV. And so, you know, you can get Roku or whatever, but these smart TVs have Roku built in them. And so it's already there. Just get the streaming. And so he said, you know, Black Friday is coming up and TVs are going on sale. And it's also the end of the year when the old models of TVs are going out, which they're going on sale right now. Wow. It's a really good time to buy a TV.
Look at them hooking you up. That's awesome.
Yeah, exactly. And it, you know, so he said, when you do that and you get rid of your dumb TVs, you're going to save so much money, because each one of your dumb TVs has a box. You're paying for a box that is connected to each one of your dumb TVs. And there's 4 boxes. And I think I'm paying $10 a box for each. Wow. So you're going to get rid of that. You're going to get rid of you're going to get rid of so many little extras on there you're paying right now, because it's going to be all part of the package. So I'm really excited that that's going to at least be another $100 off.
That's awesome.
TV bill. So anyway, it'll be easier and more, you know, so that was exciting.
That's awesome.
And then
Laura.
Well, thank you. Well, another exciting thing I had happen was David Bach said, you know, hey, whatever bill you're paying, just call and say, is there any way I can reduce my bill? Is there any, you know, whatever it is, just call and ask. And so that I happened to be paying my car insurance, and I didn't know if I could reduce my car insurance. I hadn't checked back into my car insurance in a long time. So I just called and I said, is there any way I could reduce my car insurance? And then the lady said, well, yeah, like how many miles are you driving a year, whatever. And I told her, and she goes, oh, well, that's lower than what your estimate was, you know, 5 years ago. Why don't you take a picture of your odometer, send me a picture of your odometer, and then we'll reduce your car insurance. And so I did that. It was reduced like $100. Well, you know, I got to tell you something. It was reduced because, yeah, it was only this isn't the exciting part, but it was reduced $100 a year, because I was only paying like $950 and it went down to $850. But that wasn't the exciting part. The exciting part was she just happened to she just casually mentioned at the end of our conversation. And so she's like, oh, yes. And with your insurance, you're fully covered for, you know, if you get in an accident or anything, you know, that's what you have car insurance for. And I was like, oh my gosh, all these light bulbs and bells and whistles went off in my head, because 18 months ago, Jim was rear-ended by a drunk driver. And I was right behind Jim. I was behind the drunk driver. So I saw the whole thing happen, and another witness saw it. So we pulled over. This guy was drunk. We called the police. He didn't have, he was arrested and all of that. They went to court. Jim had to go to court, found out he doesn't have insurance. He doesn't have money. He doesn't have a job. The case just kind of floundered, and Jim got an estimate for the back of his car for $3,400. And so like there hasn't been a priority for our family to pay for that, because there was no other recourse to have someone else pay for it.
And the car still worked. Like he could still drive.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. It's just the whole back rear end is just damaged. So he's been driving around with a damaged back car for 18 months. And I didn't think that we had insurance that covered that. So I was like, wait, we have insurance that covers accidents? And I told her what I just told you. And she said, oh, yes. Well, did you file a police report? And we said, yes. And then she said, okay, we'll see if you can get a copy of that police report, which we were able to, because I work for the city and was able to get the prosecutor's office involved. And so then we got a copy of that. And then they just said, okay, well, if you need to go get a second opinion from the repair shop that we work with. And then we did that. And then they just approved it. And now Jim is getting the back of his car repaired. And it's like $3,000 of damage that the insurance company is paying for that I didn't know. I wouldn't have known had I not made that phone call. So anyway, we're really excited about that. And awesome. I just think that like I kind of started making a game out of it now because it was fun. Like, what else could we do? What else? And I work for the government, and I have insurance, but I really was unclear about a lot of what my insurance covered. Because I was like, I didn't even know what my car insurance covered. What does my medical insurance cover? And so I just found out that we had dental insurance that pays up to $2,000 a year. I didn't know that. And I have a lot of dental work that needs to be done at the end of the year. So I'm getting that taken care of. I also found out that the city pays we have pet insurance. I didn't know we had pet insurance. I didn't know we had pet insurance. Well, I'm like digging up receipts from the treatment we did for our cats and all these things to turn that in, to get reimbursed for that. And then there was just like other reimbursements that parking's kind of expensive around here, but I'm on business and I pay for parking a lot. And I just say, well, I'll just pay for it. But then I was like, you know what? It's business, and I can get reimbursed for that. So I started just digging up some of my receipts and things.
Well, not that. Even if you just keep like an envelope or like a little simple zipper pouch or something in your car where that kind of stuff can go, then you can pull it out once a month or once a quarter. Because nobody likes to be bothered by it every day. I have to go carry this receipt somewhere. But just having like a very simple system where like maybe once a quarter you pull out the receipts and you fill out an expense report, but that money adds up, right?
Yeah, right, exactly. And it just seems like all of our bills have extra charges on them that if we just took time, a little bit of time, not too much time, or just one bill at a time. Like I've been doing this, I kind of really started in September and then October. So it's only been a couple months, and right now I'm working on my mortgage payment to cut that in half. Auto pay 2 times a month. It's been a little tricky. You have to go online and fill some things out. I know your younger viewers.
No. Well, they make, I think all lending institution, mortgage institutions make it trickier than it should be to figure out how to make either an additional 13th payment or double pay, so that more money is going toward principal, right? I think they kind of intentionally don't want that to happen. They have to allow it, but they don't make the road super simple to get there. So good for you putting in a little extra effort to figure that out, because sometimes you can cut a 30-year mortgage down to like 17 years or something in that range if you're able to do some additional payments along the way.
Yes, exactly. And then, there's this book is just loaded with so many great recommendations and advice and suggestions. Mm-hmm. And that, if you invest a little bit, especially for your younger, customers and clients, as well as older, because he's like, look, if you're late like me, you can still make it work. But the earlier you can start figuring this out and investing a little bit, you have time on your hands, and the miracle of compounding interest. It gets very exciting to see that your money and your interest can work for you. But
it can still get exciting for people who are a little older, right? I mean, just listening that might be in that older set at ease. Like my mom just turned 74 this year, and we started doing this kind of investing for her at 70. At age 70, she started her first investment account and put a little bit of what she'd had from a few other things in there, and she's been contributing a little bit each month. But I love doing like her little financial wrap up every quarter. At the end of every 3 months, I send her a little snapshot. And she gets all giddy. She's like, "Are you serious? Is this happening?" And like, she never thought she'd have. And I think a lot of people are like, "Oh, I don't think I'll ever have this or that," or, and not that you have to have millions of dollars, but just to know you've got some nest egg that's sizable and growing for you instead of, living paycheck to paycheck and like just struggling month to month. It's an exhilarating, very peace-giving feeling, right?
Right. Yes, because it's like it just goes back to the life you want, the life you want to live, and the freedom. And I was tied up with credit card debt for a long time and paying way more in interest than I needed to because it just gave me a headache to like deal with it. I just didn't want to just wrap my head around and deal with it. But then I realized it's crazy to be paying that high of interest rate when you can get in 0%, and that these businesses want your business. They want to keep your business. They might not go to zero, but they will reduce it. They will work with you. They want your business. They want your money. They want to keep you. And so anyway, I'm really thankful that I am in this program with you, and for all the book recommendations you give. I love it. The one you just sent yesterday, the email you just sent yesterday, because I love what good people are reading. And then I just made a list of the books I want to continue to work on, and just live a quality life and be able to continue to like give back and serve and be happy and be free and not weighed down with these things. And I found that it was a lot easier than I thought, and it's been really fun.
That's awesome. On the back end of things, yeah, it's interesting to see in retrospect, things are often more easy than we thought they were going to be, right? And I always thought on your comment about the book recommendations, I always feel a little guilty when we give people book. I feel like I'm giving people homework, and then there's this book, and then there's this book. But I think if they're really good, they're kind of tried and true, and that a lot of people have enjoyed them. If we have the time to kind of consume that as opposed to other things we might consume with our time, yeah, I mean, I just love how you've taken that, start late, finish rich, and you've just taken it to heart. And one last comment I'll make is you're talking about just reaching out to just talk to people. The worst thing that someone can do when you call them up and ask them if there's anything they can do for you is say no, right? And you're right where you were to begin with. But they might make you aware of some opportunity or some other benefit. Or, yes, we have this reduction program or off possibility there. It just becomes really exciting. And my favorite kind of recommendation is just telling people to take a look at their, like, open up either their credit card statement and also their like maybe checking account, statement online, and look at the last 30 or 60 days and just see where the money's going. And what's interesting is now in our day of like streaming, like subscriptions and recurring charge type things, there are a lot of things that we've either signed up for and maybe forgotten about, and we're getting quietly billed every month or annually. And so I actually would encourage a whole annual, like go look at the last 12 months because you'll see stuff pop up. And you're like, I don't even use that. I don't need that. And again, it's just shutting it down, turning it off, reducing it, because there's quite a bit of money to be saved in an exercise like that. So,
well, and just one comment I wanted to make, a couple of things. But first, when you said, "Oh, I've made all the mistakes and I've done all these things wrong," really, I just want you to like give yourself a lot of grace, because as your sister, I know all the stuff you've been going through over the years. You've had a lot of things that have just taken your time and energy and attention and focus. So it's not like you're just sitting around and these bills are just happening. It's like you are really working hard on a variety of things, trying to move forward in your life and your career and your family and all of this. And these little things that, are, I guess we could label them minor, like, oh, a cable bill or a pet insurance or whatever. Those were just not your highest priority for a long time because you had other things that you were focusing on. And so I just want to emphasize that, because I think that anyone listening to this who's thinking, oh, I want to do this, I want to do this to my life. I think if you can just take away any blame or resentment for yourself even, or situation.
The past be the past. It's in the past.
Right.
Let's pick up today.
Yeah, I love that you're like, you know what? I'm just going to start from today. This Zoom account, Grace was so happy to help you get that canceled. And as you move forward and said, oh, what else could I do? And then you just started getting these wins.
Yeah.
So one of my favorite parts of our conversation was when you were talking about a parking ticket that was $15. And you said, normally I would have just paid it and not had it reimbursed. But then you said, but that's $15 more I could invest. And the reason I love that is because you're not just looking at just $15. You're comparing that with what it could be 20, 30 years from now, where that $15, if you invest that, that's going to grow. That's a really expensive parking ticket that you would have just paid. And so recognizing that every dollar you save or you get reimbursed for, or that you don't spend on something, however you figure that out, that's going to grow. I think that's where it feels so exciting because you're not just fighting for $1 here, $2 there. You're fighting for this future and this retirement and this financial security that you're going to enjoy throughout your life. So anyway, just wanted to point that out. I think that's awesome.
Thank you. Very well said. I think one of the things David Fox said too was like, it's not about how much you make, it's about how much you spend. Because if you make $1 million and you spend $1 million, you're still broke.
Right.
So really, like I go back to that little leaks sink a ship, like little leaks out of your wallet, little expenses here and there and there, they just add up. So if we're just aware and conscious and, it takes a little planning the night before. And I like now bringing my own lunch. I'm eating healthier and it's all working great. And so anyway, it was a lot easier than I thought. And I'm so glad that you had this month of financial planning that really helped identify that there was a lot of room for improvement in my life. And so thank you very much.
No, you're awesome. Well, just one thing I'll add here, and we can leave it in or not in the podcast, but I would just point out, like, I've known Laura for a long time, and she's like an incredible, sharp, educated, very accomplished woman. I think I met her about 27-ish years ago when I first came down to California to meet April's family. And I think she was part of the Pro Eric campaign to help persuade April to marry me. So I appreciate that a lot. But as I've gotten to know her and watched her just continue to learn, grow, educate, progress in her career, like she's a very talented, accomplished individual. Like in her position, she's actually made so many recommendations and done so much work to save the city and the other organizations that she's responsible for or works with, to find or to make all kinds of financial benefit for them. But it's interesting because sometimes when we're like doing something somewhere else, there's that old statement that says the cobbler's children have no shoes, right? Which means we're busy making shoes for everyone else. And it's like sometimes when you get home, the last thing we want to think about is our finances, or like this or that, whatever it might be, the piles in our home, the finances we need to figure out. But again, a little focused effort, little by little, can make that huge difference, right? So it's fun to watch that adjustment little by little happening, where it's not destabilizing your family or taking away comforts or benefits. It's simply getting what you have or what you needed at a much better cost, where that money saved can go towards something else to grow or to be used in ways you want.
Thank you. Thank you, Eric. That's very nice. And I'm so grateful for all that you share with me and your community. It's wonderful. It's the highlight of my Facebook feed.
You're so cute. When I look on Facebook and whenever Laura comments on something I post on Learn to Become, Facebook labels her as a top fan. And I'm always like, Laura, you're my top fan. Thank you.
Yes, I am. I love it. It's so great.
Do you have any advice that you would give to someone who's listening, who's thinking, it's just too much work? Like, because I'll just go back to that Zoom cancellation with Grace. When Grace went in to cancel it, there was some weird issue where the password needed to be reset, but then it was going to a different email that you didn't always log into. And then you had to go find that. Like there were a few different things. It had to text you a code. And then, so it was kind of a hassle. And I remember 2 or 3 times she said, oh, it's fine. We can just leave it. Because we were on a girls' getaway with all the sisters and you didn't want to spend the whole time trying to cancel the Zoom account. Right. But by the time we got into it and got it done, it wasn't that big of a deal. And I'm not trying to throw Zoom under the bus because I don't think they're trying to.
Come on, Zoom.
All their security stuff. And we're on Zoom right now as we're recording. I know. So, we love our Zoom account. We happily pay for it with a business. But I think it was so frustrating for those few minutes when we're trying to figure out why wasn't it easy. Sometimes there is an issue with the wrong number or backup or password or whatever. What would you say to somebody who just feels like, I do not have the bandwidth to deal with all that, but I want the result,
I know. And so it took me a little while to get to a place where I did have the bandwidth. So I just had to be patient with myself. Like, okay, I know I'm going to get there at some point, but also, when your community or when they're talking with their friends, if they happen to know a friend that is a little more technology savvy than they are, maybe their friend can help them like Grace helped me. Or and I watched Grace because I was like, I want to learn how she thinks so I can do it next time for myself. Because I think the first question she typed in Google was, how do you cancel a Zoom account?
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, I can do that. And so it's just not the era that I was brought up in. It was all about making phone calls. So when I was trying to fix some of these things, they're like, you have to go online and do this. So I'm like, oh, okay. Some were able to handle on the phone calls, and some I had to go online.
Yeah.
But I think they try to make it easy online, and at least for like my car insurance and my TV thing, I mean, that was so easy. That was just so easy. And then just going to my work and finding out what some benefits are that they had offered.
Yeah.
And there's a benefits supervisor. That's her job to tell people what benefits are. So,
it goes around the offices like, and you get a coverage, and you get a coverage, and you get this benefit. And
But what I love too is I feel like this really is a form of self-care, because I think a lot of times we just say, oh, it's fine, I'll eat the cost. Oh, I'll take care of that for so and so. If someone doesn't pay me back, oh, it's fine. Oh, if you need this, I'll just pay for it. Oh, like it's so easy to just want to always take care of other people, which that's one of the things I love about you, is that you do that. You take care of people. You're always willing to put yourself out or host or, step in and take care of, some of the party or whatever the things are going on. You're very thoughtful. And so I think what happens is sometimes when there's someone who's very, very thoughtful and who is just doing their best to serve everyone else, it's easy to just say, oh, all the little things behind the scenes for me, it's fine. But when I'm watching you, just taking some of your time and energy to actually take care of yourself and not just always be the one, to take the hit. Now you're able, tell me if I'm wrong, but I think you're able to serve better in your family, your community, your position, because you're feeling more comfortable with what you get to have at the end of the day, that you and your family are taken care of.
Thank you. Yeah, that's really important that, that your finances are in order so that you can have more peace and freedom,
Like when you're measured and deliberate about it, you're able to put up those boundaries to an extent, and you have more resources then to do the good you want to do. And I think there's not a soul out there who doesn't want to be able to go to bed at night, not worried about how they're going to cover that next bill or that payment, or, just if we can get away, because I think there's so much of a mental, physical, but especially a spiritual strain on most humans if we have these kind of financial things nagging at us on a daily, if not hourly basis, right? Especially anybody who's like working with credit or credit collections, like just knowing those phone calls are just not going to stop. It destroys our peace of life, spiritually, mentally, and physically. And so just being able to little by little get out of that
cycle,
treadmill cycle. Be able to, even if you just break away from it by 1 month, I've got a month of money where I know the money I'm earning right now doesn't have to immediately fly somewhere. I've got a month's reserve where I pay this month's bills with last month's money. I know it's a weird psychological shift. If you can start getting there, now you are little by little starting to store up a greater amount or length of time money that allows you to sleep at night and truly be at peace in your life, even if it's just a month or two's buffer. And so anyone listening here, just realize you can do a few little things to start yourself moving out of where you may be in that cycle or that treadmill and get to that peace of mind more quickly than I think you might believe.
One other thing I just wanted to close with is that our family culture, I actually adore. Since we're sisters, I thought I'd just throw this part in. Just a couple examples of how I think our family culture supports all of us financially. One is we got together, we were doing a memorial for our dad when we had our family get together a few months ago. And we had a night where we were all going to gather and play games, do these activities. And we thought, oh, we'll do a dinner and everyone will bring something and we'll kind of make this big dinner. And then I think it was Bob, our older brother, he said, you know what? Why don't we all just kind of eat before and just show up and have fun? And that
Yeah.
was so great. I think it saved money, it saved time, it saved hassle. We weren't trying to get plates and
Correct.
pork and all.
Portion.
It was so great. So we just got together. We had the memorial. We played pickleball. We like danced. We
Yeah.
had a great evening.
Totally.
And then the other thing I like is, I mean, the holidays are coming as we're recording this, and we don't have a lot of pressure in our family that you have to buy a present for everyone. We have 8 children in our family, and then with including all the 30 plus grandkids and great grandkids, now we've got this huge family. But if somebody wants to send a gift, they can, and that's great, and people appreciate it. But if you don't want to send a gift, or there's nothing in particular you feel like sending, we don't have to go out and buy obligatory gifts and mail it to everyone. And even just little things like that, I feel like that takes so much stress out of holidays. Our family, we're great with a text for your birthday. Like, it's fine.
Exactly. Yes. Yes.
We're not
Yes.
worried about it. So
True.
I love that about our family, because it's just, we're all supporting each other, you know?
Yes, yes, and there is no pressure to do that at all. And you know, when you were just saying, what would I say to your community? The thing that really helped me too is like you and Eric have talked about this word before about momentum. And if you just gain a little momentum, like Grace gave me that little momentum, and it gave me the confidence to make the next call, which turned out to be so easy. And then I just made the next call, and it spanned over a period of a couple months. But just gaining a little momentum really got me excited and positive energy going in the right direction. So I just want to say to people, just get a little momentum going, and it'll happen.
I love you brought that up at the end here, because one thing we haven't shared about Laura is like she's a runner, and she's a really good runner.
She's a marathoner.
Like she's qualified for Boston a lot of times. Like she just loves running, and like it comes like momentum in any part of our life, right? We're literally like in running, how important momentum and sustained momentum is. If you lose it, you've got to exert more energy to pick it back up to the pace you want, right? So I love that concept of momentum. It can be applied in running, it can be applied in finances, or whatever thing as you're listening to this podcast you might need. Do the little thing. Do one thing that creates a little win, right? Get that momentum going, like Laura said, and you'll be amazed what it can lead into if you want it to. So I love you bringing that up.
Thank you. Thank you. You're so kind.
I love it. Thanks so much for being here, Laura. This was so fun. I would never
race Laura anywhere.
I wouldn't either.
I might be able to get her in like a 25-yard sprint. For that, total toast.
No, not at all. You're funny.
No, well, thanks so much, Laura, for being with us today and for sharing a lot of your experience. I'm actually excited for you to keep doing what you're doing, and then have like the next call with April, so she pops in and fills me in on the other wins you're getting along the way.
Thank you. I hope to too. Thank you.
All right.
We'll see you.
All right. Thank you very much. We'll see you.
Thank you so much for being here with us. I hope that you got some empowering ideas as you listen to Laura. And we'd love to hear your additional wins in the comments on the show notes page. And if you are interested in joining us here at Learn, Do, Become in our Arise membership, please visit learndobecome.com/arise for the details. We also have our STEP program Laura was talking about, not drowning in piles and getting things organized. If you want to learn about that, go to learndobecome.com/step. We are so grateful to have you with us. Thank you for the good that you do, and we wish you the very best. Okay, see you soon at Learn, Do, Become.